If you love talking about cats, but your friends and family are kind of over it, this is the podcast for you. Join your hosts, Danielle Stray Woolley and Elizabeth Calico Gearhart, on the Jersey PodCats, where everyday cat lovers share funny stories, challenging situations, and ask their questions about cats. All right, let's get right into this episode. Hi, everybody. I'm Danielle Woolley.
And I'm Elizabeth Gearhart, and we are the Jersey PodCats.
Now, in my ear, that sounded beautiful. So I don't know if like the interweb of sound travel, if that's synced up or not, but we'll find out when the recording comes out, won't we?
We will. Maybe one day we'll get it perfect, but
yeah.
Don't hold your breath.
We'll try. So we are excited to be here today. We're going to introduce our guests in just a moment. I feel like we always say excited. Maybe I overuse excited, but I'm excited. And it's the first time in a while that we've had three people all from Jersey, because even though we're called the Jersey PodCats, we actually have people from all over the place. We've had people in Canada recently, California, all over. To me, Canada and California is all over, apparently. So how are you, Elizabeth? Good?
I'm good. Yeah.
How are the kitties?
They're good. It's getting chilly here. Oh my gosh, I got to ask you if your cats, well, you have outdoor cats, so they probably do. My cats are indoor, outdoor. We leave the door open for them when the weather's mild like this. It's been pouring down rain, but it's been nice the last couple of days, but they go out in the pouring down rain and get their fur completely drenched. And then they come in the house and we have to dry them off. Do your cats do that?
So the outdoor cats, they don't pay any mind to the rain because to them that's normal. My cats, I don't think we have one of our cats, Loki, sometimes tries to sneak out. I don't think he's ever tried to sneak out in the rain, though. I don't think he's ever proactively said, hey, let me go get soaked.
It's like they like it when it's happening, but then when they come in, they expect us to do our servitude, as we must, because they're cats, and dry them off.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. I mean, we do have a new outdoor cat right now, and I think we're going to do a separate episode to kind of talk about some of the stuff I'm going through there and to get some feedback from listeners, because I'd be interested. And I always find it interesting that I think the reason why I struggled with doing a podcast in the beginning, and I might have shared this before, is I don't like speaking in definitives. Like, I don't like saying, you should always do this or you should never do that, because it changes based on the circumstances. And I think earlier on, and that's why I think Elizabeth, cringe a little bit when you mentioned, like, I have outdoor cats, because at the beginning I was like, I can't believe people let their cats outside. But now I have outdoor cats. So there you go.
Well, it's funny. Yeah. Because Checkers lived till 16 and she went out whenever she wanted. And Mercutio is 12 now. And, but as I've said before, when you get them wild, like I did from shelters, and they lived their first parts of their lives outside, it's really hard to make them indoor cats.
Yeah. I've been successful with 4 of mine so far, keeping them in, but the one outdoor stray, we just can't, it's not going great. But the other one, will share some stuff I'm going through, all positive so far with the other cat, but on another episode. So without further ado, we are going to go ahead and introduce today's guest. Today we have with us Sarah Curcio. Hi, Sarah.
Hi, Danielle. Thank you for having me. Hi, Elizabeth.
Hi, Sarah. It's so nice to see you.
So we like to allow our guests to tell a little bit about themselves. It could be about your love of cats. It could be, why did you want to come on and chit chat about cats today? It could be about anything. So tell everybody about yourself a little bit.
Sure. I'm a rescue mom for years now. I always adopt Black animals in particular because I feel they sit the longest in the shelters. I just started a pet sitting business this year, so I get to work with additional animals. And yeah, I just wanted to come on to chat about rescues and maybe some health and wellness type tips I've learned over the years. So I thought it'd be interesting to share it with your audience.
Yeah, those are some good topics. So you right off the bat mentioned rescue mom. So tell us about that. What got you involved in rescuing and Black cats? And coincidentally, the outdoor cats I have are Black right now too.
Well, from the time I was a kid, when my mom was actually pregnant with me, we had rescue animals. So before I was even born, technically, we always had rescue animals or strays, and they all just always happened to be Black, whether we found them or we just connected with them. And it just has been a running theme through our family. It's always Black animals, whether it's cats, dogs, but I have my little Mitzi next to me here. Actually, I got her from the SPCA last October, so it's coming up on a whole year. I have my
Aw.
baby. Her birthday's in October too, so I'm excited
Oh.
about that too. So
And you
it's
didn't
her.
plan that. Rescued
No, it
slash
yeah.
October. Birthday was easy to remember.
It's her her birthday's the beginning of October, and I adopted her in October. So her adoption day and her birthday are both in that same month. So I was laughing about that when I got her.
Yeah, that reminds me
Yeah.
of when we got Loki, because I still, even though I've been involved in rescue for a while now, I still don't know how to tell how old cats are at all. Like I try and I Google and I look up pictures and try to do it. But I remember when we brought him to the newer vet, because the first vet didn't go so great, but the new vet, they like pretty much asked me, like, what do you want his birth date to be? Because we're just taking a guess. I'm like, I don't know. And then we wound up picking June, I think, because that's when we found him. But even now, I don't remember. I'm babbling a lot today. I actually have the dates written down on my fridge, so maybe I'll have to look it up later because I just can't remember.
Well, they
Yeah,
had a birth date for Max, but I don't think he was that old. They said 8 weeks, but he only weighed a pound. So either he was starving to death, which I think he was almost dead when I got him,
Aw.
or they got the date wrong. But he's almost black. He's a black tabby, but he's very dark. He doesn't have any white on him at all. So that's my black cat for now.
I love tabbies and bombays. They're just the sweetest. And I grew up with tuxedo cats. So
I love
I
tuxedos. Yeah.
yeah, I have a favor. I favor those three breeds in particular.
Yeah. So do
But
your cats sleep on you at night?
no, Mitzi likes her own space. She likes to cuddle next to you on the sofa,
Mm.
but she likes her own blanket and her pillow. She actually was from a hoarding situation when I
Oh my
adopted her
God.
in
It's been
freehold.
happening a lot in New Jersey lately. Yeah.
Oh.
It's crazy. They said there were 100 cats when they rescued her. So they said it would
Oh.
be a 50-50. They might want to be outdoor cats still, or they might want to stay inside. She is a total inside. She doesn't even want to go in her carrier case to go over to my mom's house. She throws a fit to do it. So she's very comfortable in her home and doesn't want to go anywhere. But
Yeah.
my other cat that I had, it's actually a year yesterday that she passed away. She liked being outside, but I would actually put her on a leash and she
Mhm.
would go outside with me, and she enjoyed that a lot.
Yeah, you just reminded me of something. It's interesting that the rescue that you worked with or the shelter that you worked with from the hoarding situation mentioned that, could be 50-50 indoor outdoor.
Yeah.
Because at least the ones that I've been working with, they actually make the adopters sign a contract saying that they're going to keep the cat inside. And,
Yeah.
at first I thought that was a little odd. Like, how can you enforce that? But the idea is that we want to make sure that, all the time and effort that went to rescuing and trapping and fixing and
Yes.
vaccinating, and then that cat gets lost or gets sick. So,
Yeah.
So
I mean,
can,
I think it. Oh, I'm sorry, Elizabeth. Go ahead.
I really want to ask you about the hoarding cat, Sarah, because what was the cat like? Like, was it really scared, or did it want to be around other cats? Was it, I mean, because that is such a strange situation for a cat to be in, I think.
They said she was good with other cats actually when I went to adopt her. And they did say to us it could be a 50-50 with them being
Right.
outside, but the SPCA does microchip them at least. Um,
Mhm.
and I mean, I feel if they want to be outside, especially if you happen to have a yard, why don't you get like one of those really long leashes and you can have it,
Mhm.
attached to the collar so they can enjoy it, but you can still keep track of them at the same time.
yeah, I've
Um,
tried that with my Loki because he kept running out so much. I'm like, all right, let's see
yeah,
if we can kind of meet in the middle. But it got to the point where I didn't really have the time to properly like train him to do that or like know the cues of when it was okay to go out or not. And it turned into him just trying to take off whenever he wanted again. So we stopped it.
okay.
I did
Well,
actually coincidentally too just win a raffle from Mission Meow where they actually
yay.
sent me a new harness. It wasn't a whole leash though, so I misunderstood what it was. So I haven't used it yet,
Well, I
but
do
maybe it's
have
a
to,
sign.
yeah, I do have to say, I was talking to my neighbors today, and they said that Mercutio and Lily come and sit under their bird feeder.
Oh gosh.
But they don't
Gotta be
mind.
careful.
They don't mind, luckily. So,
Gosh. So
so
Sarah, so you have been doing rescue momming, and then you also started doing pet sitting. Like, how did you wind up getting into pet sitting? Like, where did that come from?
Um, I have another business, so I'm very entrepreneurial, and I just always loved animals. So I thought I would take a shot. I started using Rover, which I still do, but I decided to branch out with my own because I kind of wanted to specialize it to work with other rescue moms and dads.
Mhm.
It's just I've always had a passion for like nutrition and animals, and it just kind of made sense being that I'm entrepreneurial and I love animals. I was like, just, oh yeah, that's a great idea. Why not just do that? And I've gotten to work with a lot of great clients, and it's great because you get paid to play with animals.
Mhm.
You can't get better than that.
Yeah, I
yeah.
know you guys are shocked, but I'm usually the go-to when people need a pet sitter when they go away. I know you're so shocked. But it's a lot of work. Like, it's a lot of fun, but it's a lot of work because especially if you have
Yeah.
your own pets, it's trying to fit that into, your normal daily routine as it is. Then now you're adding their animals into. What are some tips that you have, like based on the cats that you've had in your life or ones you've been taking care of? Because you keep mentioning nutrition. Um, what are some things you think would be helpful for our listeners?
Well, one thing was when I was a kid, our cat had like severely dry skin and the fur started to get a little matted. And the vet couldn't figure out what was going on. So my mom decided, since we have celiac disease and eat gluten free, she's figured, let me try it, see if it works with our cat. So she did research, and back then when I was a kid, there weren't as many options now that are gluten free for animals as there was back then. But she found one, and we started feeding our cat that dry food that was gluten free. And within like a month, his fur was perfect. It
Wow.
completely cleared up. So, even they have food allergies that, people may not realize. My cat is actually sensitive to chicken. Like, I can give her little treats with chicken in them, but if she has actual chicken, she gets so sick, like almost
Mm,
immediately. So I
wow.
stick to just salmon and tuna for her diet. So, like, little things like that, I have learned over the years. They can have food allergies just like us.
That's interesting. And I bet too, like
Mm.
as formulations change, you have to keep an eye on that because you're reminding me through
Mhm.
Tommy's Cats, one of the rescues that we support. We got a big donation of fancy fees because apparently they had changed some of the ingredients. And before it didn't have, I want to say it was chicken, didn't have chicken before, and now it did, or whatever the ingredient was, so that they wound up donating it to us.
Yeah, it's funny what they can be sensitive to, and even certain foods that would help different conditions. Like, my other cat had kidney disease, so I had to get special food formulated for the vet, but she was also very, very picky with what she wanted to eat and not eat. So I was like, what can I mix in that won't get her kidney disease, but might entice her to have some flavor? So basically, they said try mixing in a little bit of pumpkin or even some peas. They said that would be
Mm.
okay. And thankfully, mixing that up with what she could eat helped her, so she wasn't
Elizabeth is
as
like,
picky.
don't get me started on
Uh,
picky food and allergies because she's
yeah.
been through it
Yeah.
with
So they
Max.
thought at first so Max was scratching. When I got Max, he weighed 1 pound and covered in fleas, came up from Kentucky through the ASPCA. And he started scratching his face and scratching all the fur off his face, his neck, everything. The first thing they thought was food allergy. But I ended up at the very end with a specialist who was a dermatologist and allergist. He said only 3% of cats actually have food allergies. Um, and believe me, I restricted his food. Like, I totally screwed this cat up when it comes to food, because now that we realized it was not a food allergy, and it he's on Zyrtech now and steroid and cyclosporine. And I'm hoping I can back off the steroid because he's hungry all the time, as you can imagine with steroid. And he's like a little round bowling ball with these little peg legs sticking out.
Because now he wants to eat everything after all of that, right?
Well, Danielle, you would think, but remember, he is a cat. So he
So he's
turns
still
his
picky?
yes, he turns
Oh my
his nose up
gosh.
at half the food. I know, it's crazy. And then he still wants more. I'm like, I don't know what you want because you're turning your nose up at everything, cat. But yeah, so some cats do have the food allergies, and I had him allergy tested and everything. The results were not accurate. So anyway, now we have it under control. I don't know if he'll be like itching his entire life, if we'll ever be able to take him off the meds or not. So it's probably some sort of autoimmune thing for him. But yeah. So
I like how
Sarah,
I'm nodding, like the listeners can hear me nod.
yes, I can hear you now. Sarah, is there anything really funny that your cat does?
Let me think. She actually, my boyfriend started training her because when we first got her, she was a little nervous around men. Like she had to warm up to my dad, my brother, and my boyfriend. So he started training her with cookies. And it worked, a year later, they're buds and everything, but she has he trained her to come over to him. So now she has this one spot right next to the refrigerator. We keeps the cookies on top. So she thinks every time she sits there, she's getting cookies.
Max does the same
I
thing.
was wondering if that was going to backfire. My aunt's dog does
Yeah.
that, goes right to the cookie jar now. And then he knows that's how, if he howls, he'll get one. So now we can't stop his howling until he gets a cookie.
Wait a minute, is this a cat eating a cookie?
Yeah, my cat loves them and she won't stop meowing. She is the most talkative cat I have ever had in my entire life.
But wait, what kind of cookies?
So when I say cookie, I meant like dog cookie. What kind of cookie
Yeah.
is your cat eating?
That's the kitty cookies.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
The
okay.
kitty cookies. It's what company is it? I forget which one now because my boyfriend's brother actually introduced us to them because he has 3 cats that he adopted from the SPCA. And when he was taking a picture of the cookies and sending us a text message, all his cats come running over and he had to send us another picture to show us he just picked up the bag and I did it.
I'm
That's
gonna
like
have to
the
look for
gravy.
those.
Yeah, it's like
Oh.
the gravy treats at my house. I actually rearranged my kitchen because anytime I would go to the middle island, everyone would come flying thinking that they were getting one. So like I keep moving them. So now they're on the counter so that they eventually realize they can't just have them every time I stand in that spot in the kitchen.
My cats
Yep.
are turning their nose up at the treats. I'm gonna look for those cookies. I had not heard of cat cookies before.
Yeah, but I don't know, they love the flavor. They love the flavor. It's funny.
It's a new way to spoil them.
What about the different types of pets that you've been sitting for? Do you have a favorite? Don't worry, we'll tell whoever your favorite is.
Well, one of the cats that I have was actually 2 of them. They're Summer and Sugar are their names, and they're actually tuxedo cats. And a lot of people don't think that cats are friendly or want to socialize, which is
I
a
want to talk
big
about this.
misconception, And I mean, technically, my client doesn't even really have to have me because she has a lot of food dispensers. She has the self-cleaning litter, but her cats like company and they like to play. So, I mean, I'll go over, feed them, do stuff like that, but I'm there to, brush them, give them treats, play with them. And, that's one of the things, I try to get people aware of, that they are sociable. They do like company. And, you're not just there to feed them, change their water, stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that was a huge difference between our first cat, Callie, and then when we got Loki. Like, we could not figure out why he was just like destroying some things in the house, but it's because he was bored. Once we
Yep.
started like really playing with him and like really paying attention to what he was trying to tell us, like I literally one day we were just like, "What? Tell me what you want." And he like walked over to a toy, like, "Oh, okay, he's communicating with me. He wants to play." And then knock on wood, he's not so bad. Like there's one piece of furniture that he would
Yep.
go at all day long and we couldn't stop him. Very rarely now we catch him going over there and we're like, and he stops. But it's because we play with it more now.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. I just saw an article on that recently too. People don't realize that they if you ignore them when they want to be sociable or interact with you, they do act out. It's just like kids.
Mm-hmm.
The same thing. If
Mhm.
you ignore them, they act out. They throw a tantrum, and that's their version of a tantrum.
Yeah, and it's in my experience too. That's why a lot of the places recommend getting 2 kittens and not just one, so they can play with each other.
Yeah.
Well, I gotta ask you guys. So Kushi has done this since we've had him practically, and it's different boxes, but he loves to go inside a box and just rip it up. Like, do your cats rip up boxes from the inside
Yep.
out?
I have to share it. I'll text you after we're done recording, and maybe I'll share this up in the Facebook community. There's a plug. If you're not in our Facebook community yet, everybody join. It's called the Jersey PodCats community, I think is what it's called
Yeah,
on Facebook.
yeah.
But I had to we have boxes downstairs just because it has been raining and I didn't want them outside. And the cats are playing with them. So I'm like, whatever, we're not having company. So there's boxes all over my living room right now. But one of them kept getting flipped over and I couldn't understand why. So I kept picking it up, putting it back, picking up, putting it back. Earlier, when I went to grab the mail, I went and shoved it with my foot and it like didn't move. And it's because Thor was in it. So then I was like, oh, that'll never happen again. That's so weird and random because the way the box was closed, like it looked like maybe he was in it and accidentally flipped. So I thought he was trapped. When I went back down there a little while later, I went to kick the box again. I'm like, why does this box keep going in front of the door? Derek was in there. So I actually had to write in marker, probably a cat under box. So I remember to look.
Yeah.
So to
Yeah,
answer your question, long story medium, as we say, yes, my cats are obsessed with boxes.
my cat too, she loves boxes. So much so that my boyfriend, um, last Christmas when we had a whole bunch of stuff that we ordered, took boxes and built her own big castle and like
Aw.
little
Oh, cool.
jamboree out of it. And she still has it. She loves it. She digs her toes in it. Like she created her own extra openings in the box. But yeah, she is box obsessed. And my last cat was obsessed with paper balls.
Mm.
Oh, Lily used to love chasing those. I'd crumple up paper and throw them, and she'd be chasing them all over the house.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. So they're fun to play with, and they're funny. Like I don't know. People that haven't had cats don't understand any of this, probably.
I know my boyfriend is a dog person, so he had to get used to all the cat behavior and like stuff that I would explain to him when we first got her. He was like, "What? What do you mean? What are you talking about?" And now a year later, he finally starting to get it.
Yeah, yeah.
So another question I like to ask is what is something that you're excited about? It could be about cats, it could be about life.
Well, I'm actually excited with Halloween coming up.
Mm.
We do a lot of decorating for Halloween, and my boyfriend does the outside. I do the inside. I do the inside all cats, black cats. So
That is
my
so cool.
entire window, I have a big cat a black cat that lights up. I got little rocking cats. I got a Mexican looking cat to hang up, like everything black cat. So I was very excited to get the decorating done last weekend, and I'm just enjoying it. Every time I come in and out of the house, I see it. So,
And your cat doesn't bother it at all? I was jealous because my
oh
friend
no.
Jen decorated her whole house with like webs and bats. There's no way. My cats would completely take everything down.
Oh no, Mitzi's great with it. She doesn't
Huh.
knock anything down. I have a chair next to the window with her pillow and blanket, and that's where she goes. She just enjoys looking out, and she doesn't
You have an
bother any of the
angel cat, is
decorations.
what I hear. My Loki and Derek too. It's happened while we were recording. Stuff falls off my shelf because they knock it over.
Yeah, that's dangerous there, Danielle.
Oh, that's
It is,
funny.
but I've got good reflexes. Maybe cat-like reflexes. Okay, I'll stop.
Well, if I do want to say one last thing about black cats. So
Yeah.
my birthday is August 17th, and that is National Black Cat Day. So
Oh, how cool.
yes, I've always had to have a black cat. So
Very fun.
there we go.
Well, Sarah, is there anything else you'd like to share before we start wrapping things up for today?
I would just say if you're considering getting a cat, go to your rescues. You know,
Yeah.
don't go and buy one, go and adopt one. There's so many of them that need homes. I mean, when I was in the SPCA, the day I adopted Mitzi, more dogs did go home than cats. So I would say
Mm.
give cats a chance, you know, and just go to your shelter, interact with them. They let you into, you know, those small meeting rooms and go
Mhm.
try out a cat.
Yeah, that's a good
Mhm.
tip. Thank you for sharing that. Because I actually was talking with someone, I feel like I talk about everything all the time, in case you didn't notice, but with someone about cats. They're like, oh, we want a cat, but we want to make sure it does this and does that. And I said, there's really not a way. Like, same with
Yeah,
dogs. You can't guarantee how a
Mm.
dog's going to behave. So,
exactly.
work with a rescue, work with SPCA, work with people because they know the cat. So they
And
Yeah.
socialize, they get to know, and they could say, like, we've had people get upset that we wouldn't release, like, let's say, like a kitten to just like a really, like, just not a good match. Like, it was very timid,
right.
scared cat. It was a very loud household. And we said, it's great you have a big family, nice and loud, but this cat will not do good. It'll just hide the whole time. So we didn't recommend them adopting it. So it's like
Yeah,
matching personalities with households too.
But that's
it
the other
is.
thing. Yeah, the other thing too, I just want to really quickly say is you don't have to get a kitten. Like some of these
Nope.
older cats
Yes.
are wonderful. So,
Yes.
My cat was 6 years old, and she's
mhm.
the youngest one I've ever gotten.
Yeah. And you know what her personality is going to be like.
Good advice.
Exactly.
So for
Yeah.
anybody who's listening, if you have someone that is not like into cats or they call themselves a dog only person, have them listen to this episode because I think we shared some good stuff to help them get more on the cat side.
I
Yes,
think so.
definitely.
Well, thank you so much for being with us today, Sarah. And thank you, everybody, for listening. If you're not already following us on your favorite podcast platform, please do leave us a review, share with your friends, and we will see you next time.
Thanks, Sarah. Bye.
Thank you, everybody. Bye.
Thanks so much for listening. Let's keep the conversation going. Give this podcast a rating so other cat lovers can find it. Connect with the Jersey PodCats on social media or visit thejerseypodcats.com and leave a message sharing a story or question about cats. Thanks again for joining us, and we'll catch you in the next episode.